Hello everyone, my name is Rebecca and I have a lot of baby prep to do. When this video goes up, the baby will be coming in less than a week, and that's really crazy to say. This pregnancy has felt very long, but it also feels weird to be towards the end of it. And because we are close to the end of it, I have a good amount of baby prep to do, but I also needed to get a YouTube video done, so I thought I would mush the two together so that I'm able to get both of them off my to-do list. I promise I'm not going to turn into a mom and baby channel. I just really needed to do baby prep this week. But you will be watching me draw a project that I wanted to get done before the baby arrived. And I'll be inserting footage down in the corner of me doing baby prep work. For the drawing footage you are seeing, I'm working on a design for my online store. I was hoping to do a whole spring collection, but I ended up only getting one design done. This design will feature my character Doris, and it is themed around plants since Doris really likes plants and plants are springy. So yeah, that's what I'm drawing. For baby prep, I do want to clarify that I did start working on a lot of this when I was almost 36 weeks. So it was a bit late into the pregnancy to be working on some of this stuff. But I just wanted to make it clear I didn't push it off until like the very last minute. I wasn't doing all of this just like a couple days ago. The first thing I wanted to tackle was getting all of the baby clothes, baby blankets, and my postpartum clothes washed. I spent the night before removing all of the tags from the clothes. I had put off washing up all the clothes because I was anticipating getting a good amount of clothes at the baby shower we had planned. However, we ended up canceling the baby shower because not too long before it, we learned about how the baby had a stroke. And that was a very emotional time, and it felt better to cancel the baby shower. But also I put this task off because I was waiting to get the hand-me-downs from my mom. Plus my mom had a good amount of thrifted clothes that she had found. The hand-me-downs are from my youngest brother. My mom had saved a decent amount of his clothes and blankets, as well as his burp cloths. So yeah, I wanted to get all of that from her so I could wash everything up together, along with the clothes that I had. So I took everything to the washer and got that going. For the soap, I'm using Baby Draft. It's the one my mom always used, and the smell always makes me think of little newborn babies. So it's the one that I wanted to use. After the wash, I threw it all into the dryer. I also threw in our little hedgehog static collectors. Our dryer is not the greatest. It takes a few cycles for it to get everything dry, especially since I didn't want to use high heat for this load. So I think I ran it like 4 or 5 times. I did a lot of stairs. Thankfully, it all eventually got dry. I repeated the same process with all of the blankets and my postpartum clothes. But I didn't film any of that since you get the idea. I kept throwing stuff into the laundry. Now that everything was washed, I could start sorting and folding. I started by sorting the clothes by different sizes like newborn, 0 to 3, 3 months, and so on. A majority of the clothes were newborn to 3 months, but I did have a few 6 to 9 month outfits that were gifts. A part of me considered folding the clothes as I sorted them, because then I'm technically not having to touch each article of clothing as much. But it felt simpler to sort and then fold, especially since I wanted to sort each size into different categories like onesies and sleepers. So that way I could see how much of each clothing article I had in each size. This was also kind of functioning as me taking stock of everything I had. After all the clothes were sorted, I folded them. I didn't film this part because I needed both of my hands, and it's not very interesting to watch from far away like when I was sorting. But here are the finished results. I was a bit nervous I wouldn't have a good size distribution, but thankfully I was feeling pretty good about the amounts I had for each size. Of course, for now, I'm putting off buying clothes in the larger sizes. With the clothes put away into the dresser, I was feeling pretty accomplished. But then I looked over and noticed I still had all of the baby blankets. For these, I decided to sit on the bed because sitting on the floor was getting way too uncomfortable. And I also turned on a show to entertain myself. I was starting to lose motivation, and after about 1 episode of When Calls the Heart, I had all of the blankets, towels, and burp cloths folded and put away. I do have to say, I am happy I did a lot of the things that required putting stuff together in my 2nd trimester or very early 3rd trimester. Things like the changing table, stroller, and the crib. Putting stuff together is a bit trickier in the later part of the 3rd trimester. The phrase I have used throughout this pregnancy is a quote from Baymax being, "I am not fast." And it only gets more and more true the further we get into the pregnancy. It takes a lot of work for me to do simple things like going from sitting on the floor to standing, and my husband had to help me put on my socks today. But something I did still need to get assembled is the bouncy seat. The box always makes me laugh a little because the baby looks a bit scared or surprised by the lady.
Who are you?
Anyways, I opened the box and all of the seat parts were in this bag. However, I could not find the instructions anywhere. I triple checked the box, but there was nothing left in it. So I thought that maybe the seat is so simple to put together you don't need instructions. I was kind of doubting this, but I didn't know what else to think. So I tried assembling it myself for a little bit. Thankfully, during this process, I did find the instructions hiding inside a fold of the seat cover. And it's a really good thing I found them because I was not putting things together correctly. After finding the instructions, assembly was pretty simple. However, I did have to get my husband to help me with these screws that were super hard to get in. I just could not get them in. I could rotate the screw once, and then I was not strong enough to keep turning it, and it would just get stuck. But thankfully, my husband was able to get them in. And so here is the baby seat. Yay. Also, random tangent, I understand why they put the warning labels on things, but it annoys me how they don't include the labels in the pictures. I get that it's more visually pleasing for the promo pictures, but it feels a little bit like false advertising. Oh, also thank you so much to my aunt and uncle for buying us this bouncy seat as a gift. We really appreciate it. The next task I wanted to get done was getting my hospital bag packed. Well, in this case, instead of a bag, I'm using my husband's large suitcase. He has a big one and a tiny one. And you might be thinking, Becca, do you really need a whole suitcase? It's supposed to just be a bag. And my counterpoints to that is I'm probably not going to use the whole suitcase. But I don't have any bags that are big enough to fit everything I want, so it's cheaper to just use the big suitcase instead of buying a big bag. Secondly, due to complications, I'm having a C-section, so my hospital stay will be a little longer. Plus, our son is going to have to stay in the NICU after he is born, and we're not sure how long that stay will last. It all kind of depends on how he's doing. So because the stay will be on the longer side, I have a few different pajama sets and gowns that I'm bringing. They're all mostly black because black often hides stains the best. I got pretty much all of these from Walmart for pretty good prices. Plus they're all really soft. I also have my gloves that I use to put on my compression sock that I wear on the leg that got the blood clot. And I also have some slippers to wear in the hospital and some water shoes for the shower. I couldn't find any shower slippers, so I just went with these. Next we have some Ziploc bags. I have my postpartum care stuff, and then a bag with self-care products like a nail kit, hairbrushes, and that kind of stuff. Another thing I packed is this little Zelda storage box. I've never really had a use for this, but it was just the right size to hold my spare phone charger and a sound machine. Also, this thing is so awesome. Even though it's so tiny, it gets so loud. I'm the kind of person that has to have a fan on when they sleep. Usually when we go on trips, we bring along our box fan that we have. But I felt like a small sound machine would be much easier to take to the hospital. I was a little worried it wouldn't be loud enough, but it definitely gets loud enough. A few days later, while my husband and I were at the store, I picked up some travel-sized items to bring. And I also got a new travel toothbrush since mine was getting kind of old and janky. My favorite item out of all of these is the mini Tums. It's so cute. I plan to keep the little bottle because even before I was pregnant, I dealt with a decent amount of heartburn. So I use Tums pretty often. But pregnancy heartburn is on a totally different level. It often feels like I'm just like breathing fire. So now the only big baby task I have left is to get the crib put next to the bed and secured. I'm a bit paranoid about the crib tipping over, so I got a thing that goes under the mattress and wraps around the crib. But I'm going to need my husband's help for all of that, so we'll probably do that on one of his upcoming days off here. By the time this video goes out, we'll most likely have it done. As I'm recording this audio, I do still have some smaller things I want to do. Like I want to find a hat that matches the sleeper I want to use for the baby's coming home outfit. I also want to tidy the house, buy snacks for the hospital stay, and also stock the kitchen. I am getting this video done a bit in advance, so I'm hoping this will give me time to get all of that done. Also, let's talk a little bit about the art. I was quite pleased with how the design was turning out. This is actually kind of a rework of an old t-shirt idea I made back in 2019. I never released that design because the printing service I was using back then was not very good and I was not happy with the quality. But also, I didn't totally love the design, it just felt a little bit awkward. So because I never did use that design, I kind of wanted to revisit a similar concept. And I have to say, I am much happier with this one. I feel like the end result is overall more visually pleasing and the flow is a lot nicer. So because this is the last video that'll be going out before the baby is born, I figured I would talk a bit with all of you about what the channel will look like over the next few months. Pregnant me has worked very hard making extra videos that will go up as I'm on maternity leave. I have enough videos to last about 2 months. I'm actually pretty proud and like a lot of the videos that I pre-made, so I'm excited to share all of them with you. I probably won't be the best about replying to comments, but I will most likely still read them when I have time since I do love reading everyone's comments. So basically, I'm going to be very much focusing on the baby and adjusting to life and the new changes, and the channel will kind of just be doing its thing with the scheduled videos. Also, I have no idea what things will look like for the webcomic. It's going to have to be put on hiatus until further notice, which I am a bit sad about because there's only a couple of chapters left until it is finished. But yeah, those will have to wait, and I do apologize again to all my webcomic readers. You have been so patient with me. Now, I am a bit worried for when the pre-made videos run out. I'm hoping I'll be able to get back into the swing of things, but it may be a bit of a rough transition. Depending on how things go, I may not be able to jump right back into weekly uploads. It might be bi-weekly for a while, and that's assuming our son is doing fairly well by that point. Because of the stroke and the brain damage that was done by it, there's a lot of unknowns as to how he will be doing. Obviously, I hope for the best, but I also have to prepare mentally for the worst. I honestly just can't wait to meet him and have him in my arms. Also, I do want to say thank you again so much to all of you for your prayers and supportive comments. They have helped a lot during this time. Ever since we learned about the stroke, it feels like time has stood still, but is also kind of all blurred together. But knowing that there are so many people praying and rooting for us gives me hope. You are all so kind and lovely, and I'm so lucky to have all of you. We would really appreciate it if you all continue to pray for us and send positive thoughts. Even though this pregnancy journey is coming to an end, the journey ahead is just beginning, and we're gonna need as much support and help as we can get. It's kind of crazy that I started this channel as a little 17-year-old, and now here I am married and having a baby. For some of you longtime viewers, it's like you've watched me grow up, or I've kind of grown up alongside me, and that's always kind of crazy to think about. Anyways, so yeah, you will have the pre-made videos for the next several weeks. And then we will see how things go from there when it comes to the channel and uploads as we are adjusting to life with baby. I am a little sad I couldn't finish my other design idea for the spring merch. I wanted to make a pattern design that featured Pariah, Mr. Froggy, and a bunch of cute flowers, plants, and mushrooms. But sadly, I did not have the time to finish it. But maybe I will be able to finish it in the future, because I really want to make that one a reality. Also, for the finished design of this picture, I did bring my art into Canva. I always like to use Canva for designing merch because it's so much easier to align things, and they have a bunch of cute fonts. Plus, they like to give free trials of the premium subscription, so I always take advantage of that. I do really like Canva, but I don't use it enough to justify paying a monthly subscription for it. So I will always use the free trials when they offer me another one. But after arranging all the things in Canva, here is the finished design. I'm really happy with how the colors turned out. I tried to use Doris's colors in the plant so that the amount of colors didn't become too much. Also, I made 2 versions, one that goes on lighter colors and one that goes on darker colors. I got a request from one of you to make some shirts on some darker colors, and so I tried to include some dark colors this time. I also put the design on a tote bag because I thought it would look really cute. If you're interested in getting any of these, there's a link to my shop in the description. Well, that is all for this video, and as usual, I want to thank my awesome YouTube members and Patreon patrons for their support. It means so much to me. Oh, and because I did make the next several videos ahead of time, I do not thank them at the end of those videos because I would not be able to have an accurate and up-to-date list of the current patrons and YouTube members. but just know that you are still very much appreciated. And you, lovely person watching this video, are also very much appreciated. Thank you for watching this very mushed together video, and I'll see you all in the coming future. Bye!